Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Vintage Bursche. Today we will break down the Peaky Blinders look layer by layer, so stay tuned. Okay, so today I'm standing up because first I want to introduce you to my friend Rupert. I want to explain to you how the style of the Shelby brothers works. And in between I will add side notes whether this is actually something you would wear in the 1910s or 1920s. So first, let's start by getting Rupert dressed. You can find those shirts nowadays under the term of granddad shirt. But this is a little bit different. You see, you have 3 buttonholes in the collar, 1, 2, and the third one in the back. The button front goes up to here. So this is a slip-on shirt, actually. I don't know if they use something like this in the show, because you don't see it with trousers on. You see that it's very wide, but if you wear a tight waistcoat, you won't see that anymore, but we will get to that later. But this is definitely a 1920s historical cut for a shirt. So this is a very important aspect, which actually a lot of the other YouTubers and Instagrammers get wrong or try to imitate by using just a shirt with a contrasting collar. But actually, when you look closer in the show, you see on the Shelby brothers collars, there's a little golden knob, which means their collars are detachable. You have 2 separate buttons, a long one and a short one. The long one goes in the front because you have to poke through 4 layers of fabric. The small one goes in the back because there you have just 2 layers of fabric to go through. So this explains why there are 3 buttonholes in the shirt. The nice thing about detachable collars is that you can starch them, so they always look on point. The Shelbys usually sport a very short club collar like this, or a very short Kent collar. But actually, this is not historically accurate because when you look at the actual mug shots of the actual Peaky Blinders, they don't wear any collar at all, like this, just a scarf over, or a much more popular collar during the 1920s was this one. So this is actually a spear point collar with very long collar shanks. So this is a kind of collar you really have to starch, or you need to use a collar pin to get the shanks under control. Okay, so let's get to the suit. This would be an appropriate pair of pants. Sadly, I can't put them on Rupert. However, the important thing is that the trousers in the show and the historical trousers of that time usually are high-waisted trousers, very high-waisted trousers, because the waistcoat is quite short. We will come to that later. And it's actually really flattering because high-waisted trousers make your legs look longer. So as you can see, the white shirt doesn't look that wide anymore because you have a tight fitting waistcoat over it. Another thing with the trousers and the waistcoat is the trousers need to sit very high because otherwise the shirt would, like bulge between a waistcoat and trousers, like out of it, and that looks really weird. Just the puffy sleeves of the shirt are still visible, but this is something you want for a real 1910 or 1920s look. You might want to add sleeve garters here to hold the sleeve up, or to create a look that reminds you of some banker or someone working in a casino, but it's not that necessary actually. Let's get to the jacket. So the jackets have wide notched lapels, and this button stance here actually corresponds to the one in the show, but actually jackets of the time did close very high. The waistcoat is already closing very high, but usually jackets would, like close right beneath it. So there's at least one button missing here, and the stance would be a little different, as you can see also in the mug shots of the actual Peaky Blinders. The fabrics used are usually tweeds or thick flannels to keep you warm, which is quite correct in the show. So this is a coat you will see most of the time in the show, which is basically a covered coat with a contrasting color, with usually some kind of dark velvet. However, this has a more or less notched lapel, and the ones in the show usually have a peak lapel. Also, this is a double-breasted coat, and the ones in the show are usually single-breasted. But I might add that covered coats usually don't have a peak lapel. But for a Peaky Blinders look, you don't really need a covered coat, because there are two things more important than this contrasting color, which is first, the color itself of the coat, and second, the length. You couldn't see it with the other coat that good, but the other coat was ending right above the knee, which is not as long as it should be for a Peaky Blinders look. So this is actually a raglan coat. You don't have a contrasting collar. The lapel itself is quite short and not that wide, but this actually works a lot better for the Peaky Blinders look because it's dark and it's very long. I will show you a picture here of me wearing it. What you want to add on your feet is closed laced boots like this. But actually those are not dark enough. The best thing would be black boots, or at least something a lot darker than this. Finally, we will add a newsboy cap to this one. It's very important actually that you use a newsboy or baker boy cap, which consists of 8 pieces at the top and usually has a button here. You don't want to use a flat cap, because a flat cap is something for the countryside or for sports. A newsboy or baker boy cap, as you can probably imagine from the name, is a working class headwear. And I think this is a proper Peaky Blinders look. To conclude this episode, I want to introduce to you another accessory Tommy Shelby uses in the latest season of Peaky Blinders, and which is actually one of the most iconic pieces of its time. The Tommy gun, or Chicago typewriter, or to be precise, a Thompson M1A1 submachine gun. Born in 1921, beautiful gun, first equipped with a long clip for 20 bullets, later on equipped with a 100 bullet drum magazine, an essential for every man's wardrobe. So thanks for watching, subscribe, share, and see you soon.